Okay, guys, we have to do a quick video tonight because Lindsay Clancy is going into her third week of trial, and so many rumors are swirling about Patrick Clancy maybe being the one to have done this. Now, I don't know if I'm buying into this theory right now, but we have to get into it. So let's get into it, guys. Before we do, I want to thank my members, my returning subscribers. As always, love you guys. And if you are new here, stick around, take a chance, and consider subscribing. Also, hit the upload notification bell so you do not miss any future uploads. And let's get into it, guys.
He cleaned everything up. And he took a shower. That's why he looked different in the surveillance footage. That's why not only was his shoes changed, his shirt looked different, but his hair also looked a lot more fluffy, like he just took a shower and let it air dry. This is how he describes his kids.
I loved my kids. They were wonderful people. They had a lot of friends. Everybody loved them.
Weird. This man was supposedly a marathon runner. He ran home, took a shower, cleaned everything up. That's why there was no DNA on the knife that Lindsay Clancy supposedly slit her wrist in the wrong direction, mind you. You want us to believe that she was able to clean the knife up completely while she's like profusely bleeding out of her wrist? Because they couldn't find any DNA on that knife. They said it was completely cleaned. By who? Okay, these people had cameras around their house and you want us to believe that it was just mysteriously not working on that day? Patrick is also a very wealthy tech guy and you want us to believe that just on that day the Wi-Fi wasn't working. When the neighbor's Wi-Fi was working, so weird. If guilty had a look, this is it.
What happened?
And what was her response?
She said I tried to kill myself.
So although the defendant, if we could have the 3B.
He cleaned everything up.
Now, before the trial, I would have never imagined this would happen, but it looks more and more and more like he may have done it. I don't know what you guys think, but stay with me here because there's a lot more.
And I am not letting it go. And I don't care how much hate mail you send me. I do not care.
Now, this I think the voice was added to, but this was a lip sync, a lip reader that was lip reading what Lindsay Clancy was saying to Reddington in court.
He's guilty. He's guilty. I was getting killed.
Now, if that is what Lindsay actually said to her lawyer, that is a bombshell. And it's just, things are starting to really change my mind. Now we're going to hear some other point of views where the facts just don't line up.
Patrick, it's looking like you killed your kids. So, no, my wife killed them. This trial is for her. Like, you went hiking in Costa Rica 3 weeks after the murders, and you went with your new wife, the wife that you have now. No, I didn't. She wasn't there. Weird, because she wrote a review on the Costa Rican hiking tour guide and said that we have been going for the past 3 years. The same tour guide that you wrote a review on. So this was done in 2025, and then the murders happened in 2023. So she'd actually been going with you since 2022. No, the story is I moved to Manhattan 4 months after the murder, and then I met her. You were doing a lot of business trips before the murders to Manhattan, so that's weird. Also, you Googled how to commit suicide while Lindsay was actually not in the house, and they proved that. So you were like trying to make it look like a suicide. While you were gone from the house that night, you also had her Apple Watch with you and you were texting from her. You were caught on store surveillance with her Apple Watch in your hand. And then the text that you were receiving from Lindsay, you were sending it to yourself from the store, communicating as Lindsay while she was suffering at the home. Prove it. You already have. Now Lindsay's a paraplegic and the kids are dead. And you framed her. And you have a new wife who's pregnant, who looks just like her. So this is like Chris Watts. This is
Now, if we do find out that Patrick indeed did this, it would make him definitely be a Chris Watts. He'd be a family annihilator. And here's a clip that I found the most compelling. It's talking about how there's no way that Lindsay's and Callan's temperature could have gotten to 82 degrees in this amount of time frame. But this guy can explain it better.
It is not scientifically possible for Lindsay to both have strangled Callan and for her body to have been at 82 degrees. Let me tell you guys how I got here. Patrick claims to have left the house at 5:15 p.m., but he sent an email from Surface Pro at 5:24 p.m. Very early in the trial, Patrick said Surface Pro was from his laptop. When Reddington mentioned it later, you sent an email from, what was it called? Surface Pro? At that point, Patrick responded, from my laptop. So this is the second time he said Surface Pro was from his laptop. Once Patrick sees the email and the timestamp, that is when he backtracks and says, well, it could have been from my phone. But Reddington already knows that it was sent from his laptop and not his phone because he has the forensics, and that's why it was submitted to evidence. So that puts Patrick at the home at 5:24 p.m. That means the soonest he could have left would have been 5:25 p.m., which means the latest he could have left would have been 5:29 p.m. because he walked through the doors of CVS at 5:32. From 5:25 to 5:29 is when Patrick actually left the house. Now, there's been no CVS footage from outside when he pulled in and at what time. And there are cameras outside, so we need to see when he pulled in to give us a more accurate time of when he left the home. That means at maximum he'd been gone for 9 minutes, at minimum he'd been gone for 5. At 5:32 p.m. he walks into CVS. At 5:33 p.m. he calls Lindsay to say they don't have Pedialyte, but they have generic. We now know this is a lie because on the crime scene you see the name brand Pedialyte through the bag. 1 minute later, 5:34 is when Lindsay calls him back. So the moment that Lindsay calls Patrick back, this is when her movement in the house stops being tracked and it leaves her at the top floor of the house. We do not know that she left upstairs after that. That gives her a maximum of 9 minutes from the time he left until that phone call. Her toxicology reports say that the Seroquel levels in her system were double that of a therapeutic dose, which is sedating. So is that why she stopped moving upstairs? All of that brings us to 5:35 p.m., which is the soonest time it would have been possible for Lindsay to jump. 5:55 p.m. is when Patrick leaves the restaurant. The drive time is between 10 and 12 minutes. This places him at the home somewhere between 6:05 and 6:07. At 6:11 is when 911 is called. Patrick claims he was having trouble calling 911, but we all obviously know now that this is a lie because 911 calls bypass any sort of service errors you may have. Okay, so this is really where it shifts. At 6:15 is when the first responders arrive. Callan arrived to the ER somewhere between 6:30 and 6:40, but because I'm trying to give everything the benefit of the doubt, I'm using the earliest times possible, so let's say 6:30. It is on record that 10 minutes after the ambulance arrived to the emergency room, 10 minutes after, they were able to start Callan's heartbeat back up. In order for them to get the heartbeat back with an infant in those circumstances, the longest his heartbeat could not have been going was 30 minutes, right? And that's already rare. The most rare, 1 in a million chance would be 45 minutes. So if Callan's heartbeat restarted at 6:40, 30 minutes, which is extreme, would have been 6:10. Patrick was home at 6:07. There is a psychotic, like I said, once in a million shot that they're able to get the heartbeat back after 45 minutes max, but even that puts his situation at 5:55. If he was at 5:55, that never would have given Lindsay time for her to jump from the window and for her body to drop to 82 degrees. Even with all of her injuries, it is scientifically impossible for him to be at 5:55 p.m. for her to jump and her body to be at 82 degrees, even with all the injuries she had. One of the claims that they're making is that she got off the phone with him and that's when she jumped. But if that were the case, if Callan had been out since 5:35 p.m., they never in a million years would have been able.
Now, I know that we have some nurses out there that watch this channel, and Donna, my friend, she's a nurse or a retired nurse. So let me know what you think about that clip. Is that the case? If so, then it might be changing my mind. And now we're going to go through some clips from him in actual court. and hear what people think about them. So, what do you tell me what you think?
At this point, Your Honor, I'd move to submit the 911 call as the next exhibit.
That may be allowed pursuant to the earlier order.
I'm a certified doula and I was a psych major in college, and I believe Patrick either did this or was complicit. And I'm going to explain to you why. There is something called the anchoring bias, which means the first piece of information a person hears, sorry, there's a fly in here, they typically believe, and not only that, they double down to look for information, and the next part is called confirmation bias, to determine, yes, what I believe is true. So in this instance, he is saying, oh, she killed the kids. And everyone's like, she killed the kids. We need to confirm all the information that's going to say she killed the kids. What we're not going to do psychologically is think critically and go, there's some holes in this guy's story. He changed his outfit. She had a very low body temperature. Her injuries were inconsistent with being able to speak. The infant was able to be revived. And she was also hypothermic, suggesting two different timelines. So with fundamental attribution error, we can determine that the line we've been fed could not be true, and we are predetermined to double down and try to prove that. So I hope that helps with why some people are feeling so passionate about the Clancy trial.
So now we've heard from a nurse and what she thinks. But now we are going to hear someone talking about the shoes. Because when he made a specific statement in court that when he got home, he took off his boots. But he was seen in the boots in one place, and he was seen in tennis shoes in another place. So how did he change his shoes twice during this time while he was out, if he was only out one time and did not go out twice?
Gets home and he physically enters the kitchen. He says he takes his boots off, and then obviously he sets down the takeout order and the CVS items. But he mentions very clearly, I took my boots off. I'm confused about the boots. Just for reference.
And what did you do once you got inside the home?
I started taking my boots off.
Now the issue I have with that is if you look right here, those don't look like boots. Let me get out of the way. Those look like tennis sneakers. In case you need a close-up, those still look like tennis sneakers from the 3V restaurant. Those don't look like boots. However, about 20 minutes prior, those do look like boots. And if you look at the soles of the boots, they're black. See the black? See the black? And let's go to the soles of these shoes. Clearly white. Whether you want to say it's semantics or not, these don't look like the same shoes. I'm not one for conspiracies, but those are legitimately two different shoes. Maybe it's a camera angle, I couldn't tell you, but there's a very clear white sole on one shoe, which looks more like a tennis sneaker, and then there's a dark sole on the other shoe that looks more like a boot.
So how do we explain that one? He was seen wearing two different shoes at 3V, the restaurant, and at CVS. And some people are saying that even he was caught on camera with Lindsay's Apple Watch in his hand, which means that he would have sent the text to Lindsay and responded back to him from Lindsay on his own. This is getting crazy, guys, but let's hear what a tarot reader has to say.
Did Patrick unalive the children? Tell me more. Did Patrick unalive the children? Tell me more. Did Patrick unalive the children? Did Patrick unalive the children?
Now, I'm still on the fence because when I started out this, I really thought that Lindsay was guilty, but she shouldn't be criminally charged because the doctors failed her. But I thought Patrick was behind her, but apparently he was not behind her at all. He had vacationed with his new wife 3 months after this tragedy. And let's hear some about that.
This is the new wife? What? I went on a deep dive of trying to find out what the new wife looks like. And what? What? Feel free to go do your own deep dive on this, but this is getting...
That's what I said. What? She looks a lot like Lindsay. Almost put their face together and they look just alike. Guys, you gotta tell me what you think. Because if he was flying to New York and he was cheating on Lindsay, and it's true that up to 3 months before this happened, he was cheating on Lindsay, would he have more motive to make this happen? And now we're gonna hear a clip that talks about how Patrick was able to talk to Lindsay. He was able to hear her respond and say the kids are in the basement and that she had tried to unalive herself when her thyroid had been crushed and no paramedics were able to get her to speak a word. Now that says something.
And what was her response?
She said they're in the basement.
She responding?
She was in and out of consciousness.
She conscious?
Semi-conscious, in and out of consciousness.
Able to speak to you?
She wasn't, no.
Did you speak to her?
I attempted to.
And did she respond to your questions?
She mumbled, and it wasn't a definitive answer. And on a longboard with a collar, she was unresponsive, but breathing on the ground.
And she was not conscious, correct?
Correct.
And still had not gained consciousness at all?
Correct.
I think that from my best recollection, we knew that she was unresponsive, found down outside of her home.
She regained consciousness at all while she was in your emergency room?
No.
At all during the time that you saw her?
No.
And what was...
Okay, just two more clips, guys. The next one is going to be what I think shows that Reddington is on to Patrick about the cheating thing, and I think he's starting to realize there might be more to this.
I worked from home since 2018.
Okay.
But yeah, I built an office down there.
So you were always there?
Yeah.
Not always, but you were down there when you would work?
When I wasn't traveling, yeah, I was there.
Okay. So when would you travel? Tell us about that.
I really didn't travel, actually, much during COVID, just towards the end, and once in November.
November of what year?
2022.
November of 2022.
But before that, I traveled extensively.
And let's look at November of 2022. November of 2022 was a month before she was telling you and her mother that she was having thoughts, right?
Right.
It's November of 2022, and you traveled. Where did you travel to?
New York.
And how long were you there, sir?
2 nights.
Wow.
And who took care of the kids?
What?
Lindsay.
Do you know what's funny about New York? It's where Patrick Clancy moved to be with his new wife because that's where she's from.
We said yesterday that there is no way this man met this doctor from New York, follow me now, and blissfully fell in love that quick. Like out of all places, he just decided 4 months later to go to New York. Yeah, I'm all for moving on with your life, but I knew that he knew that woman already.
Yes, it does look like he knew that woman already, as you saw in the clip, that he vacationed with her 3 months before this happened. That's why Reddington is focusing on November. And in that, if you saw the clip, I know you just saw the clip, but supposedly it was going on for 3 years. So what the heck? He was not a loving, devoted husband. He was not helping Lindsay. And one more clip, guys, and then we are going to cut it for the night. And this is why everybody says to shh about the Patrick thing. But I don't agree with shh and about the Patrick thing, because if he is indeed guilty in any way, shape, or form, I think he needs to be held accountable.
If you believe that Patrick is guilty and Lindsay is innocent, I need you to come to the front, okay? Come here, sister. Come here, brother. Come here. We know, okay? But the plan is for her to, good support system, okay? All that needs to change. And we need this to be for that, okay? So we gotta stop getting sidetracked on the facts, okay? Yes. We are correct, okay? Okay? Postpartum care.
All right, guys, I could have went on and on and on. I made this a forever video, but it's late. So I'm going to see you in the next video. Let me know what you think about all these theories, but they basically aren't really theories because a lot of it is based on facts. The DNA, the Apple Watch, the Wi-Fi. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So let me know what you guys think down below. I love you guys, and I will see you in the very next video. Bye.